Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Thanks for spending it with us. We're going to call the meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. Let's start with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First, we'll start with public comment. Carol?
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I'm just here because I kind of would like to urge the supervisors to start cindering and plowing the alleys here in Spring Mills. We've had the last couple snows, the ones we've had that have immediately followed with sleet and freezing rain have just been, the alleys have been almost impassable, and had there been an emergency or fire truck or fire or something like that, there's no way that anyone would have gotten up there. This past, it was about two weeks ago, I think it was, we spent our own money to salt because you just could not move on that road, and I just don't want to see anything happen. And I know that the alleys can't be brought up to the specs, that's impossible. But I also know that, and I keep being told that this is supposed to be a private road, but no one can tell me when that was made. And from what I know, there was a church up where we are at one point in time, so that makes me think that that road was not always private. But I just think that something needs to be done, and I know I have spoken to Carrie Benninghoff's office, and they can explain the particulars if anyone's not sure of everything. I just ask that, like, we're not asking for it to be paved, we're just asking for run a plow. I mean, I would think the T-tag could get up through there, or and just get some cinders. I just don't want to wait for catastrophe to happen and then wish that it would have been done. So I just urge you to think about finding a way to do something little. Okay? Thank you.
On to liaison reports, solicitors report.
I don't have much. I was talking to Carrie before the meeting about this wireless communication facilities ordinance, which is on the agenda, but since I'm already talking about it, I just need to fiddle with some of the language that the county provided. We'll report back to you all with those edits.
Emergency management coordinator. Don?
I don't have too much to report. Been working too much on the laws and that they've changed and that, but we'll be doing that. And the other morning when that storm went through, I was out and I checked all the roads on this side, and luckily I didn't have to chainsaw anything. It was all small enough I could throw it off. Then I called the road crew and told them that it was clean over that way, so they would know, and they were just headed out for Green Grove Road or someplace to cinder, so they were kind of happy to hear that, so that's all I have.
Just a point of note, it's required by law that we complete for FEMA, NIMS certification, so we will be attending March 14th or 15th, something like that. So that we can complete our training for the EMA on that. Gregg Township Fire Company?
All I have to report at this point is their bingo will be tomorrow evening again.
Old Gregg School Advisory Board report?
We had election of officers. I was elected president. Jim Smith is president-elect, and secretary is Christine Sailors. And then Doug, a couple months ago, remember Doug, you gave us concerning a website, and Christine went in and registered Old Gregg School for the kitchen. And you can go to the website, it's called thekitchendoor.com. It's not costing us anything, but if we can get some business for the kitchen, we thought it was worth it to do. We'd also, one thing we have that we would like you to consider, and maybe not tonight, it might be something you might have to work on, but the advisory board would really like you to consider closing Old Gregg School early on Sundays. And I think Donnie can attest to this, that they've had some problems with people who are in there in, is it late afternoon, Donnie, or?
Evening.
Evening.
Yeah.
Evening. But we would not like, of course, it wouldn't affect reserved parties or special events that were going on there, but we would like you to think about possibly closing Old Gregg School early.
What do you mean, having trouble with people?
Well, we had a group in there one Sunday night that was really, they were throwing the ball back and forth, and when I told them about it, they got about half smart. You know, it wasn't good. And I feel that Sunday nights there shouldn't be anything in there. I mean, that's the night to be home with your family or something like that.
We just would like you to think about it and keep an open mind on it. The other thing, we're in process of getting the final wording and the pricing on the signs. We want to put a pretty big one above where everyone is to sign in, since we are still having problems collecting that $2 and getting people to sign in. We just are almost at a loss as to what anymore to do to get them to do this. That's all we have. Thank
I have a
you.
question, Carol. How much earlier are you talking?
We were 3:30, which, Donnie, what's normal?
9:30.
9:30.
But even 6 o'clock, I don't know what's in here Sundays, really. Except a couple times I came in, there was people in here, and I just don't feel it's right that people's in here after 6 or 7 o'clock at night, Sunday nights.
I'm just not sure how I see that as being any different than Saturday nights, people being in here.
I think
Or
Sunday
really
nights,
any other
Sunday
night.
nights are when you're seeing the most issues, I believe.
That has been the problem so far. Saturday nights, really hasn't been any problem, and a lot of times the gym is rented on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
And-
Which is also another reason that I would hesitate to close earlier on Sundays, because the gym is rented so much those other times during
Well,
the
that,
week.
we went
That the
back to
open,
be.
that the open gym, there would be less open gym time. So I think some of the kids are having problems with our kids that are back on break from college, some ages
And weren't
like
those
that.
adults, Donnie? Weren't they? Older?
Mostly, yeah, yeah,
They weren't kids.
Yeah, so
one kids.
those are my concerns with closing early. It's definitely something we can keep discussing, but
We
I
just want you
hesitate
to
to
start
limit that
thinking
amount of
about
time.
it, because Donnie and Jim are going to
Right.
keep watching.
go ahead.
Jim has walked around the gymnasium, and there is no damage to the walls from people being in there and not respecting the property. Now, I can't tell you right now what night it was, but, you know, it's,
Yeah, I mean, I've watched the footage of kids having a birthday party where they're playing dodgeball, and the walls are old and brittle, and any ball hitting that wall is gonna cause the plaster to start to break, so I don't think necessarily it's malicious, and there could be that some of it's being done maliciously, but with the understanding that it's also an old gym, and anything that gets hit off of that wall is going to potentially weaken it and cause it to break, so.
Well, the one Sunday night, they had a chair sitting in front of the door, not over that end of the gym, and had it propped open,
Yeah,
and the furnace was running away. You know,
yeah, there are some
it was
logistics
running
of that,
around.
of finding some way that we're gonna make sure people know they can't prop the doors open, and there's certain things they can't do. But if we don't have somebody sitting here monitoring the building every time that the gym's being used, we're always gonna have issues like that. But it's definitely something we need to keep thinking about how we can do better at monitoring the people that are using it, I guess. I appreciate your concerns and definitely something we need to keep thinking about and talking about. Anything else you guys want?
Yeah, I have a number of thoughts about it. In part, I agree with what Carrie's saying. It's one of the few times when others can use that gym as an open gym. Other ideas, you could close earlier and try it and see if you get any complaints about it. Say close it at 8 o'clock or something like that, and see if that makes a difference. And I think we need to panel the walls or put pads all the way around the gym. That plaster just doesn't stick, and it's always falling off. So that's something the advisory board needs to talk about. Those are my thoughts on it.
I would agree with Doug, I mean, to a point, but other than that, all we can do is try something, so that's my opinion.
If you close it later, like 8 or something, it might keep some of the folks out you feel are damaging or giving you a hard time when you try to close. And I don't know if it makes any difference or not. See what the reaction is from the community.
Really, the only problem I've ever had was Sunday nights.
Yeah,
And I think most of his problems were Sunday nights.
yeah.
And, you know, I mean,
You know, another thing, the advisory board talked about buying another camera and putting it in the gym so you could see all angles. And then if you could identify somebody who's causing trouble, talk to that person about it. And ask if they be more respectful, and if it continues, then maybe they shouldn't be coming to the gym.
yeah.
Can I say one more thing? After the advisory board meeting earlier this month, we went down to look at the stove because some of the board members hadn't seen the stove. And there were some adults out in the gymnasium, and while we were in there, there was a ball that slammed against the pads in front of the covering on the opening. And they didn't know anybody was in the kitchen, and Jim went over and opened the door, and they said, "Oh, I'm sorry." So that was something that was done on purpose. So, you know, we have adults that don't even respect the property. And
You know, at one time, there were a group of basketball players that they'd go over to Frosty Hook and have a few beers, and they'd come over here and play basketball. And one of those folks actually ran into a door and broke it, the glass in the door. I don't know if some of those folks are back, or if it's just ordinary folks trying to play basketball. Camera might help, at least give you an idea what's going on there. Those are my thoughts.
I mean, I'm up to trying the 8 o'clock, if that's something you guys would be okay with, reducing the 8 o'clock then on Sunday and seeing if that helps make a difference. I just hesitate to do it any
We
earlier.
could try, try that, see what happens.
Maybe get another camera and get it in that different direction. And be sure that when they sign, well, I guess when it's rented and they sign a contract, but those coming in, I don't know if we need a bigger sign. You're on camera. Be careful what you do to the property. I don't know. It's very discouraging that people just do not respect.
Did we ever get an estimate for what another camera would be?
Well, it's around $600 or $700. I recall that from the last time. The same folks would come in and install it. Call in and get a quote.
Yeah, and we can do that and then discuss it at March meeting. And we have the quote there.
You can try the 8 o'clock, see if that really does make a difference, but that's up to the group. That's my opinion.
I like the 8 o'clock because it allows people time. If you have an open gym membership, you want to pay $2 and come in, there's some time there. I don't know if it would work at all. We could just try it and see.
Well, has Sunday night always been an open gym night?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it can be rented, there's still,
Well, I know
there's still the
for
ability.
special events, yeah. But I never really knew that Sunday night was an open gym night.
Really, any time that the gym's not rented is an open gym time. So during the day, evenings that aren't rented during the week, anytime the building's open, it's considered open gym as long as it's not rented.
I mean, volleyball people used to give me a problem, but I think that all has straightened out. And I think most of the people, and maybe because of you, Terry, I see your name on there, I think most of them are signing in. I don't know whether they're putting any money in, but they are signing in. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is for insurance purposes that you want people signed in. Is that correct?
For liability, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. All we can do is keep trying to find other ways to tell them, aside from having somebody that's sitting here checking people in, which is not financially feasible right now. So we kind of have to make do and adjust things as we can and see what works. So I'm fine with 8 o'clock, trying it and seeing if that helps eliminate it. Still gives people time to come in.
You want to give him a try at that?
Yeah. Anything you want to add about scheduling, anything building-wise? You've been getting a lot of calls to schedule, so it's been pretty good.
That's been pretty good.
Doug?
Yeah, the pot sink in the kitchen has been leaking. It's been repaired a number of times. Jim Smith has fixed it a number of times. So I ordered a new faucet. I have it in my office. Jim said he'd put it in. Refrigerator and pantry wasn't working properly. Everything in it melted and drained onto the floor, but now I understand it is working.
Now it's freezing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that refrigerator should stay there or if we should replace it. That's something the advisory board ought to talk about, I think. I don't know how many, I guess it's used, but it's never really full when I look in there. I'm not sure it's necessary. And
Is
we
that
have
the
that.
refrigerator in the storage,
What's that?
in the storage area? Is that-
Yeah, in the pantry, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Maybe we should just get rid of it and not replace it. But the advisory board can kick that around. I received quotes for work at the underground for wiring, cleaning up the fire alarm, which is hanging there by a piece of conduit, and gathering up some wires and putting some new switches in. I also got a quote for some outdoor lights. That would involve rewiring existing fixtures and using LED lights. I guess for now, that's all I have.
Penns Valley Code Enforcement Agency, he sent out the report, nothing really new there. Another township has asked if they can fill in a little bit for their inspectors, so that'll be good for them. Nothing else new there. EMS, Lindsay's not here. I don't think there's anything new to report on the EMS side of things. Penns Valley Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah, the planning commission continues to discuss the updating of the comprehensive plan. What we're working on in specific is the future land use chapter. And we just got our feet wet in that a little bit at the last meeting. One of the planning commission members asked if the planning commission could have a tour of the high school, a new facility at the high school. And Linda Marshall, who helps us, she's from the Center County Planning Office, scheduled that meeting on, I believe it's April 15th. And the Penns Valley Regional Planning Commission would then meet at the high school on April 15th, get a tour from Dr. Griffith, and then have a room to actually hold their meeting there. The next meeting of the Planning Commission is March, I think it's 18th, 7 p.m. in this room. Those are the highlights. Do you want to add anything to that?
I think that the May meeting, we are also working on having state representatives attend that meeting.
Yes, that's right. That hasn't.
To discuss more
Yeah.
EMS stuff and some other
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it. Okay.
Planning Commission?
Planning Commission met on January 14th. We recommended to the supervisors the adoption of telecommunications facility ordinance, which David spoke of already. Our meeting on March the 4th was canceled due to lack of agenda items. Check.
Tri-Municipal Park?
I asked Joel before the meeting if he would step in and report. There was a meeting last Tuesday I didn't attend, but Joel did, so he's a little more up to date than I am.
I can update you on that. We also, I think you have a draft, a new budget to approve tonight. We met on Tuesday this past week with the contractor and several people from our landscape committee trying to get our ducks in order for seeding, assuming we have a normal spring that things dry off up there. Everything was rough graded last fall, and we needed a dry spring to get the seeding all done. So that was a good step forward, and also looking at some possible grants yet this year.
Yeah, Steve from Amaron called me and said that the seating looked good, like it was gonna go in well.
What we did last fall, the wheat notes mix that we used. So we did get some cover over the fall cover, that's
As for the budget, we had originally approved a budget, then Potter Township didn't like the budget, so they approved something else, and then there's a third and final budget that needs to be approved, which is the fourth column, the last column of it. Basically, that was just changing around some stuff with the guy that's going to be helping them do fundraising. So we need to approve the last column as the final budget for Tri-Municipal Park.
Yeah, I'll make the motion, we go ahead and approve the proposed 2019 budget for the Tri-Municipal Park.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimous. Water and sewer?
Yes. The sewer and water held their annual organizational meetings, and the election of officers, all positions have remained the same. Business included monthly reports and repairs, updates. There was no new business.
Thank you. Secretary Treasurer's report. I will entertain a motion to approve the January 7th Board of Supervisors meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimous. We don't have an all funds financial report because we're working on learning that report. So we'll scratch that one from the agenda. You do have a budget versus actual for the general fund. As happens in the first quarter of the year, before tax money comes in, we'll end up in the negative paying the bills for this first quarter. So we need to make a motion to transfer funds from the savings to the checking in order to get through until the tax money comes in, and then we'll transfer the money back
Yeah.
once that comes in.
I'll make that motion to do that.
Can you make the motion for $15,000
I'm gonna make the motion for $15,000 transfer.
from savings to checking?
Yep.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
None.
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimous. We discussed last month that Pam has her notary, and whether or not we would like her to transfer that from her county to Center County. I think you said it's $50
$50
$50
to transfer.
that, that she can provide that service through the township office. So we want to move forward with that.
Yeah.
And authorize paying $50 to transfer her notary from Cook County to Center County.
I'll make a motion, we have Pam be the notary and transfer $50, or provide $50 for her to do that, to transfer. Yeah.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimous. Right to know report is attached. Roadmaster's report.
Since last month, all we really did was plow snow, spread salt and stones, try to keep trucks going. We had a few small breakdowns, hydraulic hoses, stuff like that. We got the new guys' feet wet, I guess, on this and starting to figure it out, so bear with us. Everything's hopefully falling into place here eventually. Really, other than that, we got a hold of, or Lee got a hold of us from PennDOT with the Muddy Creek Bridge. He sent us a blueprint of what's going on there and marked what trees need cut, since PennDOT can't get there for, I don't know how long it was, but those trees have to come out of there before March something because of the bats that potentially could live in them. So we started doing that the other day, and then it started to snow again, so we got one side of the bridge done, but I think it was like 6 or 8 walnut trees we need to come down, and we dropped them and put them there for the landowner to take care of, so I guess we're trying to do our part to keep the ball rolling on that.
So PennDOT has completed their right-of-way acquisitions that they needed from the 2 property owners on either side of the bridge so that they can start filing all the rest of the paperwork for that. So they're supposed to, the let date for that is March 28th, so that's when all the bids need to be in from the contractors. And then at our April meeting, we will award the bid for that project. We may have to call a special meeting in the beginning of April to do that, but Lee believes that we should be able to wait until the April 11th meeting. And then they'll begin construction hopefully by June.
Yeah, I don't think they can be in the creek before June or something.
Yeah, and then they have to be out of the creek by September. So it's still moving forward. All the ducks are lining up, so it's working.
You want to, I guess, you sent an email there about
Yeah.
Dawn Branson and Sarah Campbell.
Ken Terra, who's doing, I think, the design for the Sarah Campbell Lane project, dropped off all of their documents today in the office, so all of their schematics and drawings and everything. But Brandon would like to meet with Don Franson to go over everything over there to make sure that, since we'll be the ones maintaining the road, that it's what we want as much as we want it. So those plans are interesting to see in the office. Anything else?
Nope.
Anything else for Brandon?
I don't have anything.
Unfinished business, the township map is almost completed. It should be mailed out to everybody mid-March. So glad to get that done. Telecommunications facility ordinance, we've already discussed that. Anything else you guys want to add on there, on the ordinance?
No.
Number 3, we haven't had anything new, so that'll just stay on the agenda. Office computer issues, we received a few quotes from 2 companies. Those were emailed out to you. It's hard to compare apples to apples on those because each person's recommending something different. The major difference being the warranties on them. So I don't know if, I know the one Dell quote from Dan Decker, the discount on that will end, I believe, next week. So whether we want to discuss that now and make a decision, or if we need more time to find some more options.
So if you buy the Dell, then there's some periodic maintenance with that, or you just buy it and connect it and
Well,
let-
just your
let-
usual software.
let it run. I think part of the issue with the other one, the one that failed, was maybe not having it looked at periodically, having someone come in and say, well, is this working properly?
Some of that is the issue, that whoever set it up over 8 years ago, the backup of QuickBooks
Yeah.
had it backing up in the wrong place. And the storage was not large enough for it.
Yeah.
But aside from that, the computer itself, if you bump the computer with anything, it freezes the whole computer and then shuts off. So that was more of the physical
Yeah,
computer issue
yeah.
than the storage. So there was a few different angles.
Yeah, what was the quote for that?
Well, they were all different.
Yeah.
The most expensive one was a 5-year warranty, and that was $1,800. And then the second one for that was a 3-year warranty, and it was $1,400. And then the other guy's quote was 700 and some, and that was only a 1-year warranty.
Yeah.
And didn't include Microsoft, which is what the other quotes included. And this guy was, I think, 70. That's not on here. But his hourly rate
$80.
was like $80 an hour to do the transfer. Dan didn't give us an hourly rate for that, but I think it's because I think part of his services is donated as.
From what I remember, he treated us very well when we had the issue. My opinion is I think we should at least consider going with him, but that's going to be up to the group.
And really, at that point, it's what computer we would go with.
What's your opinion?
I think at this point, I don't want to have files lost. So,
Right.
we definitely want to go with somebody who's going to be able to get in here and help us definitely sort out what we need.
He came actually on the weekend that time, correct? That's my opinion. I think we should at least consider him.
I think we need to do something. I haven't gotten any quotes or anything from it.
Well, we can look at other computer options, just that. That one was originally over $3,000, so the sale rate now has it down to $1,800. And I think that's why he was pushing to, that is the one he recommended as the one that the township needs. That was his recommendation. And then I asked him to give us another one because it was so high.
And that included the 5-year warranty.
That's a 5-year warranty and the Microsoft.
Is that 100% warranty?
I don't. I'm not that,
Guaranteed data retrieval. Well, why don't we conditionally approve that and also look and gather a little more information about it, but if that one checks out and it's a good one, then we could go with that.
You can pass a motion to spend up to some amount, and that will allow you to continue figuring out what to do. But if you need to spend the money in the meantime, it's there to be spent.
then I would say 2,500 to allow for possible labor. And taxing.
Let's just, I'll make the motion, we cap it at 2,500 for the computer backup system and go out and find what we think is the best deal.
I'll second that motion.
Mediation, we have our intake session with the mediator this coming next week on Wednesday. So that is still progressing. Anything else for unfinished business? New business, we had an ethics complaint filed with the State Ethics Commission, so that investigation happened over the last 2 weeks, and now we're just waiting to hear the results of that. March meeting date change. Doug will be out of town when the March meeting is scheduled, so we need to reschedule that. I will be out of town the week after, so it needs to be the week before.
Which is 7th.
The 7th will be Thursday.
I'm out of town, but I can get someone to show up.
Is that okay with you, Charles?
Yeah, I can make adjustments.
Correspondence was just a packet of information DCNR sends out about all their grant opportunities. Anything else for the good of the order?
No.
Okay, so our next meeting is going to be March 7th, which will be the first Thursday of March instead of the 2nd at 6:30. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Second here.
Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you everyone for coming. Go home and enjoy some chocolate.